OXO01 versus Rivals, and it's going to be domination for Burn and T'Challa as our very first stage. We're heading over pretty soon into the bans and picks. What do you want to see in this more aggressive meta, Dan? What should the core bans be for both these teams?
Right now, Elsa has been dominating the entire meta, so strong, with a lot of mobility, with a decent amount of overshield, with a really hard-hitting elephant gun, but it looks like XOX1 are going to go for the other overpowered option in terms of the Gambit, so both sides will not be getting the Gambit. Rival do have a chance to go for the Elsa here, but there has been a pattern here in the Asia region, at the very least, that Mantis is going to be the most common first save, at least here in Week 2.
Yeah, a lot of teams like to prioritize the Mantis. We saw this as a unique feature for Asia last year, where just having triple strategist with the damage boost off of Mantis would help out a lot. The ult, of course, having 3 different strategist ults in domination helps so much. But right away, we see Rival's game plan. Ban out the Gambit, save the Mantis, ban out the rival Mantis. So damage amplification for the backline is essentially gone.
Yep, and that's a good ban on the side of XOXO1. You don't want to give Rival Esports a one-sided Vibrant Vitality. Giving damage boost to the Loki regen domain is going to be bad news. But XOXO1, they're going to make some adjustments here. They're going to go for the Ultron save. I don't hate the idea. Giving extra damage boost with the Ultron drone to the Elsa could mean to be valuable, but XOXO1, they haven't really done so hot with the Elsa Bloodstone. Yeah, you really put Alone Fills on it, but I'm pretty sure Alone Fills is going to look for something else first before rebounding towards the Elsa pick.
You're really pigeonholing what EXO can bring to the table here in that strategist backline, my friend. You have all strategist bans coming out from Rival's side. They reserve themselves the Invisible Woman, so Cloak and Dagger, Mantis, Invis, all possibilities into the backline for Rival's side. I don't know how I feel about this Ultron pick. I do agree with what you're saying, but I'm looking at Burn and T'Challa and thinking about how open a lot of this space can be. All it takes is one superstar hit scan to be brought out from Rivals to shut down any possibility.
Either the hit scan pops off or the dive pops off, because it really depends on who wins out in this first fight. First fight in any domination round is by far the most important. That's where you set the tone. That is where you get the momentum down. And especially if you're running dive comp and you get the first cap of the point, you can just run rampant all over the map. Take every single angle possible before your opponent even has a chance to at least contesting those.
We're starting with Warrior Falls first. This is not a flyer-friendly site to go into, so I'm still curious again about this Ultron making its appearance. We do have triple strats for both sides. That's going to be the Adam Warlock now, was momentarily White Fox. Both teams had White Fox, but chose to swap off of it, opting for X-Leo to go to a Jeff. I think I'm liking what Rivals is bringing to the roster more than XO here.
And I hard agree. 6 is being put on the Namor, so that indicates that Rival are wanting to go a more defensive option, more anti-dive oriented, because they know very well that XOXO1 are gonna force this dive composition, and they're gonna keep on forcing it until it doesn't work anymore. But for now, both teams are looking to converge right onto the first point. No aggressive moves from either side just yet. We'll see if XOXO1 decide to make that first move though.
Yeah, Rivals are prioritizing winning this early fight. Like you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of anti-dive capabilities. I'm looking, too, with the double shields that Rivals have at their disposal. Comes down to whether or not we can see a pop-off potential from Ace early on. It's going to be the Van Pool coming down, the first directly onto the point. Luckily, though, the shield's down right away. Not a lot of progress being made from the Rivals side. They are taking some damage, but they're getting quickly on. First KOs come through, and Rivals are there to take it away. That's the entire front line. A little bit of the back line gone. 3 members, 2 Vanguards already down for EXO.
Rival just know that they have the better poke here. They know they have all of the momentum, right? You got the Monstros poking them down, you got Proxies poking them down, Zeph even on the Mantis poking them down. And they know that XOXO1, they can't match it. So as soon as they see one low health bar on the side of XOXO1, that's the go button. They just go right on in, they just run them over, and Rival will get that first cap, and that's going to be bad news for EXO if they're going to kind of stick with this composition, right? You're going to have to take a lot of space, maybe even be forced to use some of those ultimates before you even get contact of that missionary.
Hey, you want to talk about caps? They have Zaytha on the Captain America for Exo's side. There's not a lot of protection for the mid to back line for Exo's side. And it's going to be Rez, though, to help mitigate things a little bit. HK Mario's gone, but Zaytha's gone. He's been off-angling so much up against rivals, and with an invisible boundary down and plenty more ultimates onto the wayside, it's looking pretty good here for these two fights to go in rivals' favor. They just have to play defense now. Holding down just a tiny bit more. Ace is looking for any sort of top damage that he can, but he's focused so much on Lumi. Lumi themselves is close to an Agamotto, but I see Soul Resurgence is set up and ready to go, and Horn of Proteus could be blocked anytime from 6. It's down to this. Maybe a Rage of Ultron could help stem the bleeding a bit, but I just don't see that being a possibility.
Yeah, XOXO1 are going to hold on to the Rage of Ultron. They don't think they want to use it just yet. Now they decide to use it, but with Zaytha going down, Ace needs to be the man with the job to get that charge in, but so far XOXO1, they are just getting booted right out. They cannot make any room with that ultimate.
One body taken down by Rage of Ultron. That's not where you want to be.
Yep. That is really not where you want to be. Rival Esports also having so many of their ultimates at their disposal. Proxies with the Kumiho Unleashed doesn't even use it because he just takes down Ace with a simple left click. Lumi going up high, only stuns up Sungjung Woo, but Rez is there to back him up. But 6 gets the whale and dunks down Sungjung Woo, but it's thankfully traded. And now XOXO1 finally getting contact onto the site. They're going to have to invest a lot if they want to win out here.
It was a Fate of Both Worlds used to help protect this Ultron, but now the Ultron is still the only victim inside of that fight. Could be a portal potentially coming out momentarily, 99% down for rival side. Warrior Falls is going excellent for this team, but as the portal comes down, it's a matter of whether or not all these ultimates will be used, and they most certainly will. Silent Seduction is used! What will the return be? The Kumio Ha is there, it's going up for 27 rays, but fortunately that beast is no longer feasting around directly onto the site. It's a matter of seeing if that portal can survive just a few extra seconds. It goes down, bodies are still on the site, but look at that yellow timer, Dan. It's going away very quickly. 2 bodies are still remaining onto the point, but one of them's gone. Ace taken down. Just enough time for a trickle to come underway. 27's flushed off of the site. 1 body still remains. That's going to be Sungjung Woo. He's not normally a Vanguard player, but he's forced to play into the role for the portal and stay directly onto the site. And not for much longer. A clean 100-0 for rivals.
I feel like Alone Phils probably could have pulled off some sort of clutch if he was able to get a good angle with the Apex Predator, but he just never found it. He was holding on to it for the entirety of that overtime fight. I feel like if XOXO1, they went for the opportunistic play in trying to fish out a multi-KO with the Gartrox coming out, but XOXO1, they're just gonna save on that Elsa ultimate and wait for the next fight here going into round number 2, whereas Rival, they do get a huge win, but if Olymphils doesn't pull out the Gartrox really early in this first fight, Rival can easily counter it with strategist ultis.
I think a lot of it too was just the uncomfortability of Warrior Falls. There's really not a good position really anywhere on that point. You're always taking a very awkward, somewhat elevated difference of a fight, right? And so I think, you know, starting off with Sungjung Woo on the Ultron, there just wasn't a lot of opportunities to work with the open space that we're used to in Burn and T'Challa. I think going into these next 2 points could work a lot more in Exo's favor, but we'll have to wait and see, and maybe starting off with Apex Predator could be the move.
Yeah, the XOXO1, they have to have an idea that Rival's ultimates are coming back into the cycle. XOXO1, if they know, they're going to have to go really fast, really aggressive, but 6 is just clicking down Sungjung Woo. Sungjung Woo literally can't breathe because he's literally drowning.
He's a robot, of course he can't breathe down, but the Horn of Proteus is ready for 6. He is set up and ready to go for any player that wants to take this aggressive fight. There were some around. Apex Predator was brought out. Gartrox is not long for this world, unfortunately. Raz is completely exposed. No help at all from Ace, who's unfortunately no longer with us. And by all though, this one has fallen, and Zeft alone is taken out in the Mantis, but there's so much more to deal with after this. Feels like alone, quite literally was alone on the point. There is some help coming out from Zaytha's side. Okay. These are all singular fights, Dan. Agamotto comes through. That's going to help with the fate of both worlds. And quite literally the fate of XO staying in game 1 comes down to this ultimate. Heals are out. Alone still needs to stick around to this Moon of Snow, whose ultimate's now to the wayside. That's again falls, but the hands of Zeta has worked well for this triple KO.
Rival do get a few percentage points, but in the end, it's going to be EXO taking control. Great use of ultimates coming out of EXO-1. Using Res to counteract one of those ultimates, and then Song Jung-woo following up. And even if Song Jung-woo wasn't able to give the space EXO need, you got Zeta with the Freedom Charge, 27 A's with Kumio Unleashed. So there were a lot of defensive options for EXO-1. And considering that they only had to use 2 out of the 4 defensive options that EXO-1 had at their disposal, that just means that they can keep this fight extended, make sure that Rival don't get away in, but Rival do have ways to re-entry with the Psionic Seduction.
Good info gathering from EXO's side. Zeta's there to proc out where these players are going to come in from. Helps gather that upwards verticality from EXO's side to maybe take an early fight, but they still have to stay directly onto the domination point. Large Prox is out. Invisible Boundary directly on top. Alone still good for 1. Does not fall off the stage, but came pretty dang close. Gonna work out well. Plenty of ultimates used from Rival's side. It's gonna help proc it out immediately. Same can be said though for EXO. That's a Meteor and Freedom Charge brought out by EXO. But through it all, Song Jung-woo does take down 2 critical different players. Rez is there to help with 6 as well. This is the first time we've seen Rivals on the back heel this match.
Oh, this is gonna be bad news for Rival. They invested on both the ultimates on HK Mario and X-Lyle, and they got nothing out of it. EXO-1, they did use the rest of their defensive ultimates, but with Song Jung-woo's ultimate coming back into play very, very soon, means that he could have a chance to make the aggressive move to try to get rid of Zeft, who is really, really close to that Soul Resurgence.
Soul Resurgence is nearly up, and we've seen this Horn of Proteus have some impact. Usually then the more is targeting.
Oh, there goes Zeft!
More hardcore! Oh no, that's gonna be Zeft gone immediately! And everyone from EXO has finally found their bearings, getting themselves together. They have got
no chance for Portal here.
Group fight after group fight, Dan. Portal needs to come out, but there's simply no time.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna kick in the nick of time. Yep, the 100% meter comes up. EXO will take us the distance in map number 1. Great awareness from EXO-1 to realize that Rival had a Mantis ultimate coming out of cooldown very, very soon, and they were able to eliminate Zeft just in time. Zeft was sitting at around 93% when he went down, and that was the winning play for EXO-1 to take over round number 2.
I really liked how Zeta was playing as Captain America. The fact that he could break up a lot of the backline, prioritize healing away from their own team, and prioritize using the attack, the hit scan, whatever you have for the backline attacking value for himself as a distraction, really made the front line for Rival suffer.
Yeah, now the question is, EXO-1, they don't have the ultimate economy advantage this time around. Rival have 3 at their disposal. Make it 4 actually, with Lumi's Eye of Agamotto coming up very, very soon. But it's a matter of how long do EXO-1 hold on to this Fate of Both Worlds. Are they able to, at the very least, weather a few seconds of that Soul Resurgence or even the Kumiho Unleashed, and then go for the move? That's going to be where EXO-1 are really going to have to discipline themselves. When do you use the Fate of Both Worlds, and when do you take advantage of what Rival are going to throw at them?
5.5 ults ready, Dan. Do you think Rivals use all of them for the first fight?
It very well could be. First fight is very, very important, so I wouldn't be surprised if Rival invests everything into the kitchen sink here.
It's gonna be risky. That means you won't have any for the return fight after EXO. Use theirs. It depends on whether or not they can build up their ults in time and use both as well. Off-angle plays coming out from what seems like Rival side here. We're still waiting on that invisible boundary to come out, but there's perfect timing. As soon as the Soul Resurgence is done, we will see X-Wheels come on through. Agamotto's out. Oh, the Proteus thereafter. Gonna work out well. Alone is gone, and he has been such a problem for Rival side. Get a Meteor M in return. Who's it gonna hit? Nobody.
Yeah, not sure what that meteor was for on the side of EXO-1. Ace kind of just used it willy-nilly, try to force away what Rival esports are looking for. They're looking for aggressive moves. They're looking for eliminations now. And with a key elimination onto Alone Fills in that first fight, it means that Rival did have a chance to cap, but with a cap ultimate on the side of EXO-1, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
I'm wondering if this middle gap is going to be a problem for Large Rocks. I think he might just send the player down into the abyss and not see much else. That's going to be a Meteor M taking on Rez. That's a huge pick fairly early on. still, no team has capped the point just yet. We've already seen the Apex Predator come through. Nothing really to talk about there, but this has been EXO domination, Sunjuk Blue especially.
Yeah, they lose a few members on the side of XOX1, but they were able to stall enough for them to come back and still make an impact on the team fight. Somehow, up until now, no one was able to capture the mission area. But now with Rival at the back foot and with all their ultimates expended, they're going to have to find a way to, at the very least, get control of some sort of neutral area without any ultimates available.
You're completely right. That was 5 ultimates used from Rivals, and they took down, what, maybe 1-2 bodies at most?
Oh boy. And there you go with Kumiho Unleashed. Yeah, Kumiho Unleashed just disrupts everyone on Rival Esports. They went for the rotational play, but XOX1 were quick to jump at them. 27 A's pops his own ulti. Rival have no answer, and EXO keep this percentage going up higher and higher, but with a pick onto alone fills, this might be the go button here for Rival.
It has to be. They have literally no other choice. They could have a portal maybe soon if this next team fight doesn't work out well, but they really don't want to be in that spot if they don't have to be. For the Proteas from 6, I'm expecting big results. Taking this mid-side route once again should try to help break EXO just a tiny bit. Really, priority number 1 needs to be Zeta. He takes down Zeth again. He's just targeting this poor boy. That's the entire backline gone. 2 of your strategists are gone. Say hello to the duelists. They're also removed. That's the entirety of Rivals gone.
Zeta, oh my god. How do you keep going in and get these eliminations and then going in for more? XOX1 are setting up this Captain America for success. There's even an Ultron drone onto the Captain America, so every time Sunjuk Blue right-clicks, Zeta is getting a 10% damage boost, and yeah, the Snowflake as well being invested onto the Captain America means he really is the main carry, but with Rival looking for other ways in, trying to wombo combo with the Angela and the Namor ultimates in tandem with each other, but Rez is there to quickly shut it all down.
Gotta give it to Rez, though. The heals have been immaculate. The fate of both worlds each time has been a game changer for EXO these last 2 points. But Clark Rocks is out yet again. It's the Apex Predator. A great way to move around the middle of the stage. And look at this. Is there a chance to bring it home? No. Almost Exleo could have been removed mid-ultimate, but unfortunately the shot was not there. This is Rival's last chance to get back onto the court and have a chance to win game number 1. Invisible Boundary was out, but once again, left alone. No one to defend them. It's gonna be the matches to fall, and Zeta is there to make sure that these strategists are gonna start off today a very, very bad way. That's 6 gone as well. That overtime meter is falling to the wayside. Just a little bit left, and we could very much see EXO take away game number 1.
Yeah, there was no chance for Rival to come back, even if they found a miraculous clutch. XOX1 had 27 A's on the White Fox ultimate ready to go if things got hairy. And what a convincing win for XOX1. It didn't really look so hot ever since they did not get that first cap in the first round, but once they got control, once they got that mission area, they knew what to do. They knew what to do best. They just go right on in into the faces of Rival and just literally kick their teeth right in. Zeta rightfully getting the MVP, 14k damage on the Captain America, but also with 11 final hits. Yeah, he got a lot of resources with Sunjuk Woo putting a drone on him, Rez putting a Snowflake right onto Zeta, so this Captain America just had all the resources and was just able to just wail on the back line of Rival Esports, and Rival just didn't have any sort of response. They had anti-dive options. You had 6 on the Namor, you had proxies on the White Fox, but it just was not enough. No amount of CC, no amount of Monstros can save you from a wild damage boost in Captain America.
No, you're completely right, man. 11 final hits coming out from Zeta. Look at how many KOs Zeth and Exleo have. That's the entirety of the final hits that this Captain got, man. He terrorized the entire back line, and there were so many opportunities in that second and third point that Zeth was left completely alone, forced to heal very far from the back lines, and it just gave Zeta the perfect opening to completely disrupt them.
Yeah, and now with Rival in the back foot here with EXO at the match point scenario here in this best of 3. What kind of map does Rival decide to go for? Either you go for something that you can match the dive composition of XOXO1 with, or you just go for something more defensive oriented, something like a Midtown perhaps.
Yeah, I would love to see just a different change. I think Warrior Falls for Burn and T'Challa was just an environmental diff when it came up for EXO's side. I have a feeling that if we see Burn and T'Challa come out in the future for EXO, they'll clean that up quite a bit more. Not having to rely on, say, an Ultron, not having to rely on Zayth as Captain America, but bring out something completely different. If we do get to see something like Midtown, I can't imagine we're going to see the macro for EXO completely change. I think it'll be just about the same, Dan.
Yeah, we'll see what Rival decide to cook up here in map number 2, but for now we're going to head into a short break to give Rival some time to think about it, and we'll be right back, and we'll have Rival's answer by then.
气贯长龙。
Thank goodness this book has pictures.
Let's get go!
Hey, it's looking more and more likely we could have a Game 3, Dan. I'm wondering if Rivals are going to go for an all-strategist ban lineup again.
Oh boy, we'll see. I mean, XOXO1 already took Rival to the distance in round number 1. It went to all 3 rounds inside of that map on Burn T'Challa. But now we have to move on to the second map. And yeah, we'll see if that all-strategist setup that EXO and Rival did against each other might be the play. We'll see, but I'm not sure what Rival are going to cook up this time around, because that Captain America really became a problem towards the tail end of that map.
I like the idea of keeping the Namor as like an anti-flank option. I think that could have been very good, but it felt like the priority there for the Monstros especially wasn't necessarily the backline protection. We saw them used pretty aggressively all throughout that domination match. I think swapping now to Museum of Contemplation would be better for Rivals overall, but we could face the same exact problem again, where the worst case scenario would be that Zaytha just doesn't care where you put those Monstros and raid bosses them.
I mean, Rival, you can see it right now, Rival did in fact choose the attacking side first, so we'll see how they decide to operate the spawn break. You have a lot of different options. You could, if the option is available to you, you could use the Mantis, you could use Ultron, you can also use Storm to just provide as much damage amplification as possible, and it just depends on what kind of carry you want to use to take advantage of that damage amplification. Maybe the Moon Knight, maybe the Punisher. sometimes even Star-Lord could make an appearance here. It's just going to be what Rival decide to go for, because for now, every time for the most part, when we've seen Museum of Contemplation and the losing team from map 1 decides to pick it and they pick attack side first, they've been getting full held almost every single time.
Do you think it's going to happen again? Do you think teams have learned from last week and yesterday's play day that maybe they won't get full held? Maybe?
I mean, it really depends on what Rival decide to cook up, right? Again, it's going to be depending on how the band draft decides to go out. Depends on how Rival decide to structure their team composition after the band draft. And also XL1, what are they going to cook up on the defensive side? Because they could literally do anything. But usually in the past matches in several different regions, several different games as a whole, it's been a lot of looking at them if it does end up going through. And XL1, they don't have a big history on that kind of resurrection composition that they could go for, but how hard do they dive on the defensive side is really the big question.
We saw a very brief appearance of Adam. I mean, for like a microsecond back on Burning T'Challa's Warrior Falls from EXO's side. So it's in their arsenal a little bit. It's just not the silver bullet necessary for them to win all their matches. I mean, it's tough because they absolutely could go for the Atom here on Contemplation. It's definitely a safe bet, but I think it really comes down to whether or not we see Rivals double down again and go for an all-strategist ban lineup. I have a feeling the answer is probably no, and that does free up more opportunities for diverse strats coming out from XO.
I mean, there is a theory, right? If you target all strategists, it gets to a point where the opponent that has to deal with all those strategist bans just doesn't have a big strategist pool to work with.
They don't need it.
You with like a few decent options, right? You don't have the best options. You're gonna have to work with the decent options. And it's just there, like, can you still take advantage of it despite with all those strategists being banned out? Because if you go for all the meta picks, you got a Luna, you got White Fox. That's a solid duo backline for the strategist. Maybe strategist Deadpool, maybe, but not a lot of teams have been using that to their advantage just yet. I mean, XO1, they're okay with it. They've been using it. They've been letting Rez cook on the strat pool. But really, the only other team that's been using the strategist Deadpool was Zero Tenacity on last week.
But I mean, I think if you have limited strategic options for their strategist, it makes you have to reinforce your vanguards and make sure that they're very strong. We saw that from XO. We had our doubts back on Warrior Falls, but once we went to the other 2 points, we saw Zaytha truly pop off on the Captain America. And again, like, if you have to go for more unique options to try to pop off and throw your enemy team in for a loop, yep, something like Captain America will absolutely do that.
Unless XO1 decided to go for something completely unhinged, right? In terms of Convoy and Convergence maps, XO1 really like the Magic and the Strange team up. They've been using that so much. I think they've used it almost every single series at this point. And with yesterday's match,
already, right?
Yeah, and then you saw how XO1 have been cooking with it, right? You got Seongcheok Woo on the Magic, you get the chain because of the team up with the Strange, onto 2 members, and then you had Olunfils, who was playing Jeff in yesterday's match, just swallow up the 2 players that got chained up, because if you're chained up, you're essentially slowed.
It's going to be potentially devastating for Rivals depending on how things play out. We're just about ready to get started for game number 2. XOXO, they snuck away a win for game number 1, background domination, and this is Rivals' chance to bring it back. Remember, this is a best of 3, best of 5, so the Rivals today and their group stage placement, this could be their last chance before the damn tournament breaks. And we get to see which teams are top level teams or towards the bottom.
We kind of set the stage for this matchup as a whole, right? How does Rival put up against the likes of teams like XXO1, Zero Tenacity, and Reject? These teams are currently in the middle of the pack in terms of the standings here in preseason Asia. And now we navigate towards the band draft. Did Rival Esports find the winning formula here? Because for now, both sides ban away the Gambit. Rival take the Mantis yet again. And XOXO1 will get that one-sided Elsa as well. So far, it's been very, very similar to what we saw back in map
verbatim.
number 1. It's pretty much the same, actually.
It is the same, yeah, it's ridiculous. But again, alone, we're going to see onto the Elsa. It's looking like a full strategist backline ban for Rival's side. Maybe here we can see the Ultron ban coming out from Rivals. I believe at this point we saw it be, I want to say it was Loki this far in. We do get to see the Loki ban from EXO, so there is some priority there for the very strong strategists. But if I'm Rivals right now and I'm locking in that Mantis, oh boy. Yep.
Is
I'm
this
already,
salt? Is this
they're
salt to the
already
wound?
telegraphing. Yeah,
Is
they're
this
already
salt to the
telegraphing how
wound for
Rivals are gonna
Rival?
play, man. Maybe.
I mean,
Dude.
XOXO1 kind of just played their hand at this point, right? They're telling the Rival, hey, we're going to run dive. Good luck. And that's what Rivals have to deal with. They're going to have to figure out a way to counteract Zeta back on the Captain America.
Okay.
As Rivals do round out their composition, they do manage to get the Ultron and the Mantis. A strong strategist lineup that we've been seeing in the entirety of Ignite in every single region because of the 12% damage boost that Mantis provides, and then you top it off with the drone as well from Ultron, now giving 10% damage boost with the right-click ability. Means that with these two damage amplifications stacking on top of each other, one, you're going to do a lot of damage, and two, you're going to get your ultimate faster as well.
And it looks like you're going to pump all that into 6, rocking the Punisher here. Would absolutely melt the front line, but Zeta's going to lock in that Captain America. He's not going to be playing the front line whatsoever. He's going to try to backline, sideline, any line that is not straight in front of you to try to prioritize and torture the backline. Now, we do have the Mantis, we do have the Ultron. Zeft is not going to play Mantis. Says, nope, I'm not doing that. Instead, we have a lot more range when it comes to the healers. I imagine now it's to make sure that they can have that extra distance against Zeta. But Dan, that was part of the problem with Burn Ninja T'Challa. You give yourself so much distance as a healer away from your mid to front line. There's no one there to protect you from someone like Cap.
4,
Yeah,
3,
it's going to be a
1.
tough to see if Rival did find a winning formula, because right now Rival, I think they have to go as fast as possible. They know they have all the damage amps. EXO don't have access to the Mantis or the Ultron at all, so Rival, they know they have the advantage, so they have to go fast. But with Exile going down, that's going to throw a wrench into this engine.
Yeah, not a great start here for Rival's side. I did like the damage amp coming out from 6 early on, but 6 immediately falls to someone without nearly as much amplification. That's gonna be a meltdown against Rivals immediately.
I know I said Rival should go fast here, but to the point that they don't overheat, right? They went a little too far deep. They got picked off back in the back and then in the front. Rival, all they had to do was just poke and prod, wait for EXO to make the first move, counteract that dive, and then with your ultimates being accelerated so fast because of damage amplifications, you could have easily just ran over XOXO1 once you had your ultimates, but with Rival losing out on that first fight, gives EXO some room to stabilize.
Okay, room to stabilize, you're completely right. That Sunjaku gone, that's a moment of reprieve. As long as 6 can, well, stay alive, but also just take down these valuable picks that are in the healing vicinity, I think this could be a strong start. That's HK Mario removing Ace from the round just for a moment. That's going to be, again, a very powerful Vanguard, but the Glorious Rocks out sends them directly to their grave. That's a lone gun from the hands of HK Mario, who always miraculously finds so much impact on contemplation.
XOXO1 have their strategist ultimates coming up online soon. It's only Zeft with a defensive/offensive option on the side of Rival. HK Mario could easily shut down anyone on XOXO1 with the Strangling Prison, but with Ace preemptively using the Meteor means that HK Mario could look for the finishing blow, and with the final judgment coming online, it's going to be up to Rez to sustain all of XO.
Oh, Alone's there, though, rocking up ultimate momentarily. That's going to be them gaining it back up. As long as they can chip damage away from that final judgment out, not too bad. It's going to be, though, another ultimate out underway. Covering the convoy. That's going to be excellent able to find some impact doing so. but this is just a mess. And as soon as they all get directly back onto the point, all it takes is one before the dominoes drop. A sedation is out, but against the Vanguard like that, you're using that opportunity to run away. And he's still faster than you.
It's a right click from Alone Fills from downtown that finishes off Proxy's. Rival, thankfully, don't have to navigate too far, but now they have to find some sort of way to get themselves back into that neutral area, because Rival, they do have Proxies on the Mantis ultimate, but it's going to be easily counteracted by Zeta on the Freedom Charge. Sungjafu is going to try to eliminate it before it even begins.
1 minute left now, walls are up, slow resurgence finally out underway from Proxy's side, but a Freedom Charge in reverse means that we can see a solo Cap who's already being pumped up full of who knows what. The takedown, everybody so is alone. Double KO right away, 6 and Scepter gone, and it just keeps raining on down. You call it, Dan. Any attacking sided team starting off on Contemplation just gets spawn held.
Yep, and it's looking like we've seen this movie before. EXO are getting the hold of a lifetime right now, but Rival, they're not investing in the portal just yet. We're crossing into Final Fight territory. Alone Fills!
Oh, Glartrox is out! Zeta and company do it again! A meltdown from EXO's side! There's only one left. It's next Leo. He runs back into spawn, but even those heals are too far away. And that is one hell of a hold coming out from EXO.
Yep, Alone Fills having the Glartrox meant that as soon as Rival tried to rotate themselves into that neutral area to try to contest it, Alone Fills was able to cut off the rotation, and it just didn't give Rival any breathing room to process what in the world is going on, because once you realize what's happening, it's already too late. They just got wiped. They couldn't do anything about it. No chance for a portal as well, and no one was there to touch to trigger overtime. And with that, EXO, all they have to do is get close to that first checkpoint, and they will win out this series 2-0.
Just seeing this big prioritization of removing strategists from EXO's lineup, but Rivals just don't seem to have the damage they need to get rid of the front line despite those bans. Yeah, they have 6. Yeah, they have double damage amplification inside of them sometimes, but even that's not enough.
It's gonna be a big question mark to see what Rival decide to cook up, right? You either go for the Adam Warlock to try to stay with the win condition of that Resurrection with the Karmic Revival, but Rival don't decide to go for that option. They're going to put Exile on the White Fox, Proxy's on the Jeff, but he does have the team-ups with the Deadpool and the Venom, so a 2 strategist with Jeff is very, very viable for Rival at the very least, but for now, Rival, they need to play perfectly for the next 4 minutes.
2 strategists now from Rival's side. Zeph now onto the Daredevil, hoping to remove some of that reprieve from the Captain America, who on this defense, or I'm sorry, this attack may just be able to Freedom Charge his way to victory. EXO don't have a long ways to go, man. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out early on. Early 1v1.
Zeta again.
Versus Proxies. Again, who are protecting the strategist? This Jeff is alone. They could have gotten away, but even then, Cap is too fast.
You either, as a Jeff in this scenario, play far back to assist the team at a different angle, or you just go right up and close. But there, yeah, Zeta is just being an absolute monster. Exile goes down. It's only going to be Proxies healing up the team for a little bit. But with EXO getting closer and closer to the end, HK Mario needs to channel the portal quick and fast.
I don't think there's enough time. Where's that portal? Does it come out just in time?
Oh my god.
Oh, what? Would this be a miracle hold? That's the entirety of EXO melting the team down again. The Wolverine is out, clawing their way to victory. But that's an easy meal for the Wolf himself. That's EXO taking game 2.
And that's a 2-0 sweep for EXO. Rival did get the portal off just barely 0.01 meters away from the game ending, but unfortunately with no reliable way to get through the portal safely just meant that it was just a blender for EXO 1. They could just get all the knockouts, all of the positioning advantage that they can get, and Rival, will lose out here in their matchup against XOXO1. So now, our question of where do we put Rival in terms of this middle of the pack, like the midfield, I think XO, we can confidently say, are on the upper echelon over Rival right now.
I'm frankly disappointed in Rivals. I was expecting more from them after that first burn into T'Challa point. I thought Warrior Falls could have been, you know, a good way for them to move things forwards, but the way that they weren't able to ban out Captain America, they weren't able to highlight the big power positions that EXO capitalized as far back as the second point of Game 1. Really, their macro, again, didn't change going into Game 2, even if the modes completely changed. Zeta was still a big problem. Alone was dominating onto the Elsa. Rivals had a game plan, and they stuck to it too hard.
Yeah, they didn't give them a chance to adjust their team composition at all. They just kept saying, let it ride, and unfortunately, they just low-rolled every time, but Zeta, again, being a monster in the backline. Shout out to Alone Fills as well, doing really, really well in the Elsa. We've criticized Alone Fills' Elsa for almost the entirety of group stage, saying that maybe they shouldn't be prioritizing this Elsa pick as much. They should be in the ban draft. But now coming into this game against Rival, Alone Fills has looked way, way better on this Elsa pick.
Very well practiced, and even without the Elsa, if it does get banned out, we know his arsenal can be fantastic too, but it wasn't a problem for EXO this time around. We thought for sure that this could be the matchup that went to Game 3, but you know, besides our forfeit earlier, this has been one of the quickest matchups you and I have had in preseason.
Yeah, just over 5 minutes, and the EXO, you can see why this is such a fun team to watch. You never know what kind of team composition they can cook up. We could have seen XOXO1 go the full dive here, but instead they went for a different approach, instead putting their resources into the Captain America of all things. And Zeta was able to take full advantage of it. You could have argued they could have used the Strange and the Magic team up in any of those games, but XOXO1, they took a different approach, and that just shows how deep of a playbook they have in terms of only running a single comp archetype.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Dan, it really felt like EXO didn't have to show much in this matchup. I don't want to be too hard on Rivals, but the fact that we know that EXO has a deep playbook and they could do a lot of different things in a matchup like this for counterplay, they didn't have to. They looked fine from the very beginning. They found what worked, and considering the fact we didn't see any changes in the ban in Game 2, they didn't have to show too much of their stuff. But why hear it from us? You've heard us yap long enough. Let's take it over to one of our favorite players for a small interview. We have Retzer here, who had an amazing Luna Snow.
And we got Rezder on the phone. Hello, Rez. How you feeling after that win?
Oh, I feel great. That win. Yeah.
Oh man. No, you guys had a phenomenal performance here. Our expectation coming into this game was that it would be one of the longest ones of the day. We thought this could go to 3 games, but the fact that it was frankly pretty dominant of a matchup, what were your thoughts going into this match?
I think it's I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to play with rivals. They are so good. Yeah.
It's fun to play with friends, play with enemies, and
Yeah.
I gotta think about it, right? I know Alone Fills hasn't really had much time on the Elsa Bloodstone. Has he been working on this Elsa Bloodstone? Because he's looking a lot better here now compared to what we saw last week. Sorry. So Elsa, your teammate Alone Fills, right? His Elsa, has he been working on it a lot more? Because he looks honestly a lot better today comparing to last week.
Yeah, I think we play Elsa, but we getting banned, so we didn't scream Elsa.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we talked about how the bans from Rival side maybe weren't at their best, but talk to us about this Captain America, because we don't get to see it in play at this level too often. Was this something you've been cooking up for a while?
No, we just cooking yesterday.
Yes, a one-day strategy. That's wild, man. Now, quick follow-up question. Have you scrimmed any teams with this Captain America? Were they expecting this?
Nah, we didn't scrim. We lost to reject. Then we cooking.
Oh man.
Yeah, after that game.
Oh boy. And then I guess one more thing before we let you go and celebrate. Is there any final things you want to say to anyone out there? Just a few shout outs, anything you want to say out into the world?
Let's go dive or die. We win.
Dive or
Champion.
die.
Yeah. Let's
Yep.
go.
Well, dive or die, dive or be dove. Retz, thank you so much, my guy. It was always a fantastic time watching you, and I can't wait to see you. And who knows, at this rate, probably interview you more in the future. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
It's always a joy to listen in on what XOXO1 have been
one-day
cooking up.
strategy.
And I mean, that's a one-day strategy. And their motto being dive or die. Oh boy, they are cooking. Especially with a 24-hour composition that they just cooked up literally just yesterday.
You were saying that the arsenal for EXO strategies are pretty deep, and the fact that nobody saw the Captain America comic really goes to show that they have a lot up their sleeves that they don't want to show really anybody in the world until their play days. I think EXO has the chance to maybe make the biggest upset out of any teams in this preseason. I'm going to call it now, Dan. I think they can take that number 2 spot from Triple AD.
Okay. We'll see if that does turn out in the end, but with EXO getting a huge win over Rival, we're going to take a step back. We're going to step aside for a little bit. Make sure you guys get some time to get your water, get your snacks, because we're going to be back for another